Mrs. Kelch, and I'm one of the high school counselors. I work with students. Their last name is P to Z. And
I'm Mrs. Thexton. I have A through G.
where's Mrs. Davis?
I'm
There she is.
setting up chairs. I'm Mrs. Davis. Last name's H through O.
And my name's Miss Walters. I'm the ACT Career Coordinator.
So we wanted to put this night together to share a variety of information. And it's for junior and senior parents and students as well. This is information that we share with your students. And we understand that some of the information does not get brought home. So we wanted to be sure that you're all on the same page. So we're going to be sharing information for both of you. If you're a junior parent, this is great because you'll get to hear about senior year as well. If you're a senior parent, you might hear a few things for juniors. So what I'm going to start off with is how many of you have been to our guidance webpage, just to the Great Bend High School site? Anybody? Okay. If you have not, we highly encourage you to go to the Great Bend High School website. If you got a senior or junior checklist, the website's on there. So just visit that because we have most of this information is there. And it's very important. We're trying to get our students to do that. And our students are getting used to using their email because we're emailing them. When we have a school send us information like Wichita State, we or Miss Walters will send down information to those students letting them know about it. And this has to do with scholarships or a special day to visit, whatever it happens to be. So right now we're pushing more than anything for all our students to be checking their email. They need to be checking their email. I have some seniors that aren't quite there yet. I can't tell you how important it is. And a lot of that is too, the colleges are sending them information. If the students are visiting colleges, they're sending them information as well. So highly, highly important that they check their email. We're asking you to do that as well. If you have given us an email address, we're asking you to check your email or make sure it's one that you do use. We use that to notify people of this meeting tonight. We use it for all kinds of information. So just please, for help communication's sake, check your email. And if you think we don't have it or have it correctly, just double check with us and we can always write it down later and check that tomorrow. So on the guidance website, we have all these handouts that we just gave you. And we're not going to go through all of those in detail, but one is the PowerPoint presentation on the FAFSA, which will be towards the end. We have a senior and a junior checklist. And this is just a lot of information that if you want to know you're on track, it goes through. And some of it's real basic that we go over with the kids. And it's information like check your grades, which they do every week. Making sure they're here every day. Talk to their teachers if they miss a day of school. Real basic information, but they need to be doing that. On this website as well, we have ACT information, which Miss Walters will be sharing in a little bit. We have college information. So when Emporia, Wichita State, Barton County send us all kinds of information, like Senior Day at Barton County is coming up, we post it on our website and we send the students an email. So all of that is there. So it's a really good resource to go to. One of the things that we highly recommend for you right now is college visits. If you have a junior, this is the year that you need to be visiting colleges. Check out just even Barton. I tell the kids, yes, even visit Barton, even though it's right in our own backyard. Go out and talk to an advisor. Talk to a financial aid person. Get a tour of the college. If you're not sure how to set it up, they're all so simple now, they're right online. You go to any school, you can Google it, it'll come up, and you can find visits or admission or college visit. Everybody's a little different, but it's usually under admission. And it'll say set up a college visit, and you can do it right online, or you can get the telephone number. So we really, really encourage you as juniors to be doing that. Seniors, you still can as well. It's not too late. But I have seniors sometimes by spring that haven't done anything, and by then they're starting to panic a little bit. So if, as a senior, if you have not had a college visit yet, now's the time to do that. Set those days up. To do a college visit, you as a parent just call in and they're excused for the day. Let them know that they're having a college visit and that's excused. It is probably important that they let their teachers know that as well. And yes, you do still have to make up the work. So it's just something that's just really important for you to do. We have our career spotlights on there when we have outside people come in and present their information for a career. We have a whole link on financial aid, lots of information on there. Our checklists are on there along with PEP and scholarship information, lots of scholarship information. The other thing that we want you to check is if you're a senior, that you look at college application deadlines. For example, K-State and KU, their deadline is November 1st to apply. That does not mean you can't apply after that. But if you want to get in on the money that they have available, scholarship money, then you need to apply by their deadline. Okay, so that's really important. If you're not sure, just go to a school's website and check with them. And that's a good thing to ask at a college visit. We have colleges visiting us all the time. And that is also listed on the website. We announce it. I'm emailing students, letting them know when they're here. That seems to be helping too. So it's just a great way for your child to check out colleges by them coming to see us. I think I'll talk about scholarships a little bit later. Any questions just on those brief things? Because we're going to go in depth on a few more in just a moment. Okay, Miss Davis is behind
Right
me.
here. So everybody have a sheet like this. It's a chart that compares graduation requirements, qualified admissions. We just briefly want to touch on qualified admissions. This is just a reminder. Wanting to go to K-State or KU is not enough. You have to meet these minimum requirements to get in. And that's 4 English credits, 3 math credits plus a 22 ACT math score, 3 science credits, 1 of which needs to be chemistry or physics, 3 social science credits. Okay. For KU, they require a 24 ACT. Yes, they've become more exclusive. Everybody else is requiring a 21. So for those of you juniors, seniors that are thinking, okay, I want to go to KU, your aim needs to be that 24. Also notice that you don't need a foreign language. That is not required for Kansas universities. Lots of out-of-state colleges and universities require it, but not Kansas. Now I just want to talk about career cruising. We attended a meeting last May, a conference, and we were told that the state of Kansas had decided that as part of the accreditation process, an independent or an individual plan of study is going to be required for all students grades 8 through 12. They said the minimum components of this individualized plan of study should consist of a resume, goals, high school classes that you've selected over the course of your 4 years, post-secondary planning, things like that. It's like, okay, this is good because we're working towards this. And then we get this email in July that said the state has decided that career cruising meets all of the requirements for an individualized plan of study. Well, we've been using this for 4 years. So they've said, the state has said, we want everybody in Kansas using this. It's like, hallelujah, because we've been doing this for 4 years. So we feel like we are like light years ahead of most schools. And so career cruising is a career exploration program, but it also has those components I was talking about. They set goals. They plan for post-secondary. They are going to share their results of the interest inventory with you. And then when we meet with them, we'll be talking about classes that they should be considering taking, activities to get involved in to help reach those goals, whatever those post-secondary goals are. Okay, so we're really excited about this. If you've not talked to your kiddos about this, do so. Okay. There's also a place for them to upload like artifacts. And this is a place where, you guys and gals, students that are here, this is where you separate yourselves from everybody else. You can stand out. And that's what you need to do. I mean, if your thing is art, take pictures of your awesome artwork and upload it. There's a place to do that. If it is CPR, because you've taken all these CPR classes and you're now an instructor, take pictures of those certificates and upload them. I mean, there's a place for that. It's very specific.
What about like all the volunteer information? Can you upload that in there?
It needs to be in there. And there's a place just for volunteer.
Okay.
And we can't stress how important that is. Colleges and employers, scholarship committees look at community service. That's huge. And they look at depth and duration. Okay, that seems to be important, more so than breadth. Okay, so they're looking at depth. And lots of you have maybe heard this story, but I think it's important, so I'm going to tell it again. A couple of years ago, a little girl, not from here, applied to K-State, and when she was admitted, she had $26,000 in outside scholarships. That was nothing that K-State offered her. And they said, by K-State standards, she was pretty average because she had 21 ACT. What wasn't average was her community service. She knew from the time she entered high school, she wanted to work with kids. She knew that. She thought she might want to teach, but she knew she wanted to work with kids. So starting her freshman year, that's what she did. Every day after school, she started tutoring. And she did that. And she did that for 4 years. And then, by the time she got around to applying for scholarships her senior year, she had lots of community service. And yes, she wanted to go into education, teaching, and so she had all of this experience with elementary, high school, middle school, vacation Bible school. It was huge. And they said, most of it was from community service. She had a part-time job. She worked weekends. And she was in speech and debate. Okay? I mean, that was... So we just can't stress how important it is. Okay? Questions?
In addition to pictures and can you put links to videos and things like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had a student several years ago that uploaded issues of Panther Tales, and she received a scholarship in journalism at KU. So, yes, video.
I already have, I know this is used for getting other colleges to look at it. I already have a profile on something else. It's called STEM Premier. I don't know if you've heard of it. Can I link that on there?
You should be able to. When you go to your homepage, yeah, we'll look at that, but you should be able to on your page.
Just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the ACT and some of the career planning services that we're offering. So what we're finding with graduating seniors, not a lot of them, and I shouldn't say that, some of them are unclear of their career paths. A lot of them know what they want to do, but for some, even we're getting to the spring of their senior year, and they're undecided on their career path and their college. So what we're really trying to do is get students exploring careers now while they're in school, and that's part of the reason that we have the software with Career Cruising. That's to help with that. We're also encouraging job shadowing opportunities. So for some students, we're placing them out in the field. We've partnered with some organizations here in town, the fire department, the hospital, law firms, really anything for students. So we'd really encourage you to encourage your students to begin exploring now. It's a lot cheaper to roll out a career now than to actually go to college for it for a year or two and then decide once you get into those upper level classes that it's not for you. So that's one thing we're really working on this year. What we're also doing is bringing in outside speakers to share with the students their career path, what their actual day looks like. A lot of times when students don't really know about a job, what they think might be a little bit different than actually what is done. So I'd just like to share with you on our website where you can go and also encourage your students to go and look at some of the career spotlights that we have coming up. So all of the items that we talked about under the guidance department. You can kind of scroll down. The Career Spotlight page, right now, we just have a summary of the speakers we brought in last year. So this is what we had lined up last year. This year, we're bringing in a speaker every month during advisory period to meet with students. So we encourage students, if they have an interest or maybe they have no idea what they'd like to do, to go ahead and attend. So really encourage students to come, as well as parents. Really be having those conversations with your students, especially as juniors, asking them what they're considering. Because we'd like them to get to the fall of their senior year and have a good idea of their career path. My other main role here at the high school is helping with the ACT and preparing our students to be successful on that exam. On the ACT tab on the website, we list the information needed to sign up for the test, as well as the schedule of our testing sessions and study sessions. So prior to every test, we have group study sessions where students can come in and review all 4 content areas. For those of you, maybe the ACT's new, maybe this is your first student taking it, the universities do require it, either a 21 or up to a 24 minimum. And then above that, there's scholarships available for how well you perform on your ACT. So even if a student would test and would get a 21, we encourage them to test again. The difference in a point or two could be $5,000 or $10,000 of scholarship money. So really, we've seen a lot of success with the students that come to our sessions and also do the individual study, even if it's 20 or 30 minutes a day. We've seen some good improvement for our students. So the ACT is a test that you can study for, just like you study for your test in high school. It covers English, math, reading, and science. And so we really do encourage students to prepare for it and plan for it, just like they would a regular test. We're also offering the opportunity to come take the test in a mock setting. So we had our mock test in the fall. We'll have another in the spring. So for you juniors that haven't tested yet and are planning to test in April, we would really encourage you to come to the spring mock test. You'll receive the full test. It's a 3-hour exam. We'll also grade it, and you'll see which areas you need to study for. Sometimes students take it for real the first time without any practice, and that creates a lot of anxiety. And so really by coming and walking through it once, that helps to relieve some of the anxiety. So we'd really encourage participation in that. And then the other area I wanted to spend a little bit of time on are the scholarship programs here at the high school. I'm going to touch on our other scholarships. So these are scholarships that are available through the colleges or organizations not affiliated with our community here. This has been emailed to seniors, and it is updated as we get new information in. There are also some scholarships that are open to freshmen, sophomores, and juniors as well. And so what we've done, we've really tried to make it a little bit more user-friendly for our students. So we've organized it by due date. So just be aware that this document is out here. We really encourage students to apply for as many scholarships as they can. Some are based on academics, some are not. We just received a scholarship from Next Tech. They're awarding 10 $1,000 scholarships, and they are not looking at GPA or ACT score. They want the applicant to show a passion for their career interest, and that's how they will award money. So sometimes students say, oh, my GPA isn't great, my ACT isn't great, I'm not even going to apply. And for some scholarships, that's not what they're looking at. So we really encourage our students to look through here, look at the criteria, and apply to any and all that they think they might have a good shot at. So I'll let Debbie talk a little bit about our other scholarships.
We have a local scholarship program that is absolutely amazing for our community. And this year, Ms. Walters is going to take that over. In the past, we counselors have taken care of it. But what I want you parents to be aware of is we will have it listed on our website. Now, right now, we don't have it, but I do want you to look at this right here. All of these links right here are scholarship sites that students can go and fill out so they have their own information, and they'll get it out there, and then they will be sent scholarships. Now, when Ms. Davis was talking earlier about the student who went to K-State and had the $20-some thousand in scholarships, that's the kind of thing she did. And this takes a lot of time and work. We tell our students, if you're serious about scholarships, you do not wait until March and fill out applications. You start now. Some students started junior year. And you just fill out one of these sites, and they'll send you scholarships. Now, some of them you're not going to have any interest in. There's one that, do you raise buffalo? Not kidding. Okay, there's one for allergies. There's one for left-handed people. There's random bizarre things out there. But if you will take time to look, you'd be surprised at what you could fill out, but it does take time. So that's just on your own. Then we have a link that we've taken down right now because we don't want people to access it, but it will eventually say local and county-wide scholarships, and there will be a huge list. We will have directions on there. We go into government classes. We share every detail with the students and tell them when they can access them, and this is for seniors. They can access usually the middle of January after we visit, and it's until the deadline, which happens to be March 3rd this year. They have to be into our office by 3:30 in the afternoon that day. It's on a Friday. Then we in the office spend a week and we organize them all. We add transcripts, ACT scores if they ask for them. Most of them do not. And then we turn them into all the different committees and we wait. And then usually by the end of April, we hear from them. We send notes out to students letting them know if they received a scholarship or not. Our local scholarship program, just local, is for only Great Bend High School students. And for those particular students, some of the requirements are they can only receive one of the local. And so we work that out. But the rest of the scholarships, and there are many, they can get as many as a committee chooses. So the key that our scholarship committees tell us is fill out the application correctly, follow directions. That's huge because when they have a stack, that's an easy way to go through. And if it says to type, type. And then to also, they look at grade point average, but honestly, like I tell my kids, it's not 4.0. It really is the community service and the leadership, and maybe they have a job. So for students to say, oh, I'm not going to get one, they don't know. And there are some years that we might have 2 applicants for a particular application, so you just never know. So it takes time. And so we just want to encourage you kids to make sure that is something that you get on now. And because on the other list right here, there are some that you could be applying to now. Questions on scholarships? Okay, feel free to email any of us. It's a really great way to access us, and we can reply or call us at any time. Ms. Sexton's going to share about money with the FAFSA.
But first, I get the green sheet as well. Okay, you have a green sheet in there, and that is our PEP schedule, Panther Enrichment Program. If your student says, I'm struggling, I need help in a class, hopefully every kiddo has already seen this because we've probably shared it with you. Every morning here in the library from 7 to 8 and every afternoon, except Fridays, from 3:15 to 4:15, there's a math and English and a science teacher, okay, who would love nothing more than to help you because it's boring to sit in here by themselves. Okay, so if your kid needs help or if one of you guys that are in here needs help, please come and get it. Okay, that's the first thing that I ask when a student comes to me and says they're struggling. I ask, have you gotten help? Okay, because that's what they're there for, and they really do a good job of helping out those who need it. Okay, I get the very exciting part, and that's federal aid. And I get it because I used to be a director of financial aid, and so I do feel like I'm, know what at least kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to the FAFSA. Although there are changes this year, and so that's really exciting from a financial aid point. Okay, so the first big thing that we need to talk about is what it stands for. It's the free application for federal student aid. Okay, I underline, capitalize free because there are sites that charge you. Okay, the correct site is fafsa.ed.gov. If you go to fafsa.com, last I knew it was $79.99. Okay, the first word is free. Please don't pay for it. Because once you submit it, yes, it still goes to the government because they retype it all for you, but you do not get your $80 back. Okay? Why should we fill out the FAFSA? Okay, when I was a director of financial aid, and still I have students come to me and say, oh, I'm not going to qualify. Okay, well, first of all, you don't necessarily know that because there is no set income level where yes, you qualify or no, you don't. Okay, and everybody qualifies for something, so that statement just usually isn't true. Okay, but what most people want out of the FAFSA is the free money. Okay, is what's called a Pell Grant or grant aid. Sometimes they call it gift aid. It has lots of different terms. For 16-17, the current year, the most a student can get in a year in a Pell Grant is $5,815. Okay, and depending on your income level, it could be, I think the lowest that they award is still $400, all the way up to that $5,815. Okay, another thing that you can get through FAFSA is a SEOG, a Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant. Okay, and that is based on need as well. It can be up to $4,000. If you're going to Barton, okay, there's no chance of getting $4,000. Okay, because the cost of attending Barton is not that much, so they can't give you that much. But if you attend, you know, someplace like Harvard, you could get up to $4,000 because it's expensive to go there. Okay. Every student who fills out the FAFSA, need or not, is going to qualify for work study. Okay? And if you want your student to have a job on campus, filling out the FAFSA is super important. Okay? The federal government wants students to have a job on campus. Okay? Because if they have a job on campus, the college understands that their main job is to go to class, not to go to work. Okay? So they'll limit the number of hours that they can have, which can sometimes be hard. But the government gives schools money to employ those students. Okay, so if you're going to, you know, K-State and you want to have a job and you have not filled out the FAFSA, you're going to have to wait until they give out all of their federal jobs first. Okay, and if there are jobs left over, then you can get one if you don't have work study. Okay, so even if you know your income level is to the point where you're probably not going to get free money, or maybe you don't need it because you have a nice uncle or something, I don't know, you still might want a job on campus. Okay, and so I think everyone should fill it out for that reason. Loans, the best place to get a loan is going to be through the government. Okay, right now the subsidized and unsubsidized rates are 3.79%. Okay, a bank is not going to be able to get you that for an educational loan. Also, if you take out the subsidized or unsubsidized, those are in students' names, and so they're going to be the ones responsible for paying those back. You also get to wait until you are no longer in school full-time, because hopefully you've graduated, or if you have just, you know, matriculated out for some reason or another, you get 6 months after you graduate or stop attending to start paying those back. Okay, those are not options that you can get from banks, and so if you are going to take out a loan, this is where I highly recommend it to be, because it really is just better regulated than any other form of loan. Now, you will get lots of information on private loans. As soon as it's out there that you have a senior in high school, you will start getting mail from private lenders probably, and your student definitely will once they hit college. They're going to be out in the commons, and there's going to be a booth set up, and they can get a free shirt, which is awesome if you're in college, or a Frisbee, and all they have to do is sign up. And so they're going to be signing up for all kinds of things, and then all of a sudden they're getting bombarded with people trying to give them money. You guys laugh, but it happens. Okay, so it's not worth a free t-shirt, is what I always tell the kids. Okay, this is the best place and really the only place that you should be looking for a loan, unless it's absolutely necessary. Okay, the other thing that you can get, and this is for you parents, is you guys can take out a loan if you wish to help your child. Okay, the rates are a little bit higher. I think they're a little bit over 5 on a Parent Plus loan, but it does not have the same amount of restrictions. Freshmen, if you can qualify for a subsidized loan, meaning the government picks up your interest while you're in school, you can take out up to $3,500 in subsidized money. Unsubsidized, you can take out another $2,000. Or if you don't qualify for subsidized loans, everybody qualifies for an unsubsidized loan. Okay, and you can take out up to $5,500 as a freshman. As you are there longer, they will give you a little bit more because you've proven that you can handle it. Okay, and then there are max loan limits as well. Okay, and that's why they do limit it each year, because some students don't maybe know enough and aren't really responsible, and so if we let them take out $20,000, they're probably going to. Okay, because they don't know any better, and all that it is a check mark on a screen. Okay, and the day that those checks are awarded, I mean, it's like spend city. Okay, at least it was in Liberal when I was there. So they do limit them. So if you're one that wants to help out, Parent Plus loans are an option. The last and a really, really good reason to fill out the FAFSA is there are scholarships that will ask you, have you filled out the FAFSA? What was your EFC, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you can get scholarships, but only if you filled out the FAFSA. Okay, so even if you don't think you're going to get a Pell Grant, there are need-based scholarships where you don't have to be a full Pell Grant recipient. Okay, so what do you need to file? The first thing is an FSA ID. Used to be called a PIN number. If you have an older student and you filled one out with a PIN number, that PIN number no longer works. Okay, and you'll have to apply for an FSA ID. Okay, you need one and the student needs one. Your completed 2016 tax return, and here's the exciting part. You used to have to wait until next year, okay, when you had filed your income tax for this 2016 year, and then, or for the income you used in 2016, so your 2017, and then hurry up and file them by the deadline. Okay, well this year at some point they figured it out, which I didn't think was ever going to happen. But now the open date was October 1st, and you can use like your 2016 taxes, like the ones that you've already done. Okay, instead of waiting in that mad rush, come March or April of next year. Okay, so that's something that I think is really helpful. So if you have a senior, at any point right now, you can file the FAFSA. Okay, and I say the sooner the better, why not? Okay, so you need your tax return, and if your student filed one, you need theirs as well. Your balance of cash, savings, and checking, and they do like a point in time. Okay, so I always tell parents that this is really the only loophole that you can find. Okay, so my husband and I both work for the school district, and we both get paid on the 25th. Okay, so if I'm submitting the FAFSA, I do not want to do it on the 25th, because on the 25th, it looks like we have a lot of money. Okay, I want to fill it out on the 24th when it's been 30 days since we've been paid and we have no money left. Okay, because if you get picked for verification, which we'll talk about, they're going to say, prove to me your balance of cash, savings, and checking. So you really want it to be on a date that you have the least amount of money available. Okay, and it's about the only thing, because you can't really mess with your tax return. Okay, but that is about the only place that you have some, some benefit, some wiggle room. Do it on the day you have the least amount of money. Demographic information, you know where you live and your phone number. If your student is a male student, they must register for the Selective Service. The government will not give you money if you haven't. If you have not and you're over the age of 18, it gives you a nice little link that you can just jump out to and do that. Also, the school code for any school that you think you might be attending. Okay, so if you're still choosing between 2, 3, 4, put all of them in there. Okay, because what it's going to do is it's going to shoot your FAFSA information to that school. Okay, and then they can go ahead and process from there. Okay, when to file, again, as soon as possible. Okay, watch for your school's priority date. Okay, most of the time they were February, March, April. Because of the new opening in October, Wichita State is the only one that we've seen that has changed their priority date. Okay, but a priority date is really just, I don't know, something that they throw out there. They can't say you don't get money because you didn't follow our priority date. Okay, the government, which is who this is through, says you really have until the end of the fiscal year when your student is actually done with their freshman year. You can fill it out at any point. Okay, so if at first you don't think you need a loan, you're going to ignore me the fact that you could get some scholarships, that's fine. Okay, and then your student attends their first semester of college and you think, oh no, we need some help. You can always go fill this out, say January of your student's freshman year. Yes?
So if my daughter's a junior, can I go ahead and start doing all
No,
this?
you can't, because you'll have to wait until your tax return information from next year. Yep, it's a good question though. Okay, this is always something that parents want to know. They'll come in and they'll say, I'm not helping my child, and so I don't want to, provide my tax information. Okay, the government does not give you a choice unless you qualify for one of these things. Okay, none of your freshmen are over 23. Okay, it's not possible to still be here. If they are married, if they're seeking a master's degree, if they're active duty military, if they're a veteran, if your child has a child, but only if they are supporting that child more than 50%. And the school is going to say if they still live under your roof, they don't. Okay, because that's more than 50% of support for a child. Okay, and that is something that schools are very picky on because lots of parents don't want to help or can't help. Maybe it's not that you don't want to, maybe it's just that you can't. And so they'll try to, kind of get around this independent versus dependent thing. if your child was in foster care, if they have a legal guardianship, or if you're homeless. Okay, and so those are the only things that can get your child to be out from under your tax information. Okay, so you submit the FAFSA. What's next?